Tonight, on the world's most amazing videos. When a jet ski racer cuts a turn too fast, he gets torpedoed.
Medic, to the water, please!
Then, a frightened cat tries to climb out on a limb and plunges 80 feet to the ground. Plus, a sprint car driver speeds for the lead and cartwheels off the track. And a wannabe cowboy gets taken on a hell ride by a 1-ton bull. Later, an extreme skier disappears inside a killer avalanche.
Oh my God.
These are the incredible true life stories of people who face their most desperate hour and live to tell about it. Everything you are about to see is real. Real people, real danger, real excitement. Get ready to experience the thrill of a lifetime. You are about to witness the world's most amazing videos.
Corpus Christi Bay, Texas. Rookie Jerry Ellison is ready to take on the big boys in a jet ski race.
It was my first expert race ever, and I really wanted to get out there and prove myself and show them that I could run with them and beat them.
There are bad omens from the start. This might not be Jerry's day.
The weather was bad, it was real windy, so the water conditions were real choppy. The start of the race, I was on the outside, and I had a real bad start. I was almost in last, taking off.
The race is a real dogfight.
I was driving way too aggressively and not thinking about what I was doing. I was just thinking about passing the person in front of me.
Then Jerry makes a critical mistake.
I held it wide open when I should have let off the gas just to try to pass somebody, and I got too close into a guy's jet wash and lost control of my jet ski and spun into a 180. And I was dead in the water just waiting for somebody to come and hit me.
Jerry's torpedoed.
These jet skis are not as light as you think they are. Most of them weigh between 400 and 600 pounds. The guy who hit me is going about 45 miles an hour.
All that's left is Jerry's jet ski. On shore, no one knows what's happened to it.
We need medic to the water! Medic to the water, please!
I was floating face down. 3 other riders came and turned me over to where I was head up, to where I could breathe.
Fellow racers pulled Jerry to shore. And not a moment too soon.
The doctors told me that if I had gotten to the hospital 2 or 3 minutes later, they probably would not have been able to save me because my internal bleeding was just so major.
Jerry's lucky to be alive after a nightmare crash that nearly ended his racing dreams. Howick Falls, South Africa. Base jumper Jeb Corliss prepares to leap off a 300-foot cliff. It's treacherous, with dangerous crosswinds, jagged rocks, and a waterfall that could sweep him to death. Jeb takes it all in and goes for it. His parachute deploys, and then Jeb is sucked into the falls. His parachute collapses. He disappears. Seconds later, Jeb's body is spit from the roiling foam. He's in critical shape, but alive.
And I remember being in such excruciating, horrific pain and thinking, you know, am I paralyzed?
Jeb's broken body drifts toward shore. But now, there's a new danger.
When I had hit the cliff, it had torn me open in the back. And I was bleeding. And that blood started attracting small animals that lived in the water. And all of a sudden, I felt them start taking bites.
Tiny crabs prey on Jeb's torn flesh. The disastrous jump has left him defenseless.
When I stepped off, my left shoulder dropped. And as my left shoulder dropped, I mean, I knew the second I stepped off, I'm like, oh no.
When Jeb's chute opens, it hurls him straight into the falls.
As I get sucked into the waterfall, I actually go back behind it. And I hit so hard, I didn't believe I could hit something that hard and continue to live. And I fall forward and I impact the second time, which then grabs my leg and twists it and actually hyperextends it. And then I actually hit another cropping of rocks, which then break my ribs.
Jeb is badly hurt. He can't move. An agonizing hour passes before his friends can reach him. He spends a month in the hospital.
Ouch.
Amazingly, he returns to his death-defying passion. Jeb refuses to be grounded by this nearly fatal fall.
I don't think there is anything I did that, you know, saved my life. I just got lucky.
Williams Grove, Pennsylvania. Lap 1 of a sprint car race. Tonight is a big break for rookie driver Scott Zellers.
Our regular driver couldn't make it. He got tied up with work, and the car owner came to me and asked me if I would like to drive at night.
This race could change his life, or end it.
Tiger grabbing the lead, followed by the 17 of Ron Kramer. Kramer double down to turn 1. One car leaving the speedway.
When I was making my move, I made a rookie mistake. Following off the right rear, which you should never do. The car went through a tin fence out in the VIP parking area they have at the racetrack and ended up going up over 2 cars out in the parking.
The sprint car catapults off the track in a violent, brain-scrambling cartwheel.
I counted the first 8 times it went over, and then after that, I didn't know whether I was right side up, upside down. You just kind of tuck your head, close your eyes, and hang on and wait for it to stop.
But Scott's not the only one in danger. Look closely. That dark figure is track worker Ray McGee. He's directly in the path of the careening car.
On his way over the rail, I was struck in the head. He continued on. I've been told that it was the actual car itself that struck me, not a part of it, but very fortunate that it just grazed my skull. I was unconscious when the rescue personnel arrived.
A 1,000-pound race car lacerates his skull. But Ray has no complaints about the rookie driver.
I hold nothing against Scott. He was just driving a sprint car. That could have happened to anyone. I was the one who was actually in a location where I shouldn't have been.
Crewmen find Scott trapped in a twisted heap. He's alive, but the crash is so jarring, Scott's temporarily blinded. He recovers, but Scott decides to give up this dangerous sport permanently.
I love racing, but you got to be prepared to be hurt if you're going to do it. It can happen. We don't like to think about it. It can happen, and you just have to be prepared in case it does.
Being followed by the 17 of Ron Kramer. Kramer trouble down turn one. One car leaving the speedway.
Coming up, a ferocious bull whips a rider in a violent frenzy of terror. And it's all fun and games at a biker rally until a daredevil stunt ends in disaster. But first, a felon's reckless run from the law comes to a dead stop when the world's most amazing videos continues.
Oklahoma City, Oklahoma.
We're a quarter mile behind this suspect.
2 armed robbery suspects make a high-speed getaway.
We can track him with this camera and stay with him.
They've got $20,000 in the back seat and the FBI on their trail.
They just have to stay at a comfortable distance and not push this to make him do anything stupid.
And they're in for a sudden stop.
Oh man, he just left the ground. Oh, now he may lose control here. Oh, he did. There was a steep hill, Ken. Very steep hill. He came over, he lost it.
All it takes is a bump in the road. The car sails, careens, then smashes into a tree.
He lost it coming over the hill. He is slammed into a tree.
That tree is taken by the explosive impact. But when the dust settles, the suspects are not only alive,
Okay, looks like they pulled that person out of the car.
they're still fighting.
Yeah, they're trying to work on the suspects.
Police finally get these dangerous felons under control. The men could go to prison for 20 years. But in this violent crash, they avoid the death penalty.
Now he may lose control here. Oh, he did!
Somerville, South Carolina. Piper the cat is stuck in a pine tree, 80 feet up. Worse, she's been there 9 days. Rodney and Scotty Colvin feel helpless to save their beloved pet.
Of course, we talked to her, she wouldn't come down, and would just stay up in those top branches, meow at us.
We tried everything we could that Sunday, and when it didn't work that Sunday night, Rodney and I had, kind of said, we think maybe this is it.
Piper is weak and running out of time. A local tree trimmer bravely volunteers to make the dangerous rescue.
Piper, he's coming to help you, honey.
The tree service guy started climbing up the tree, and as he was getting up further into the tree, Of course, the kitty cat's getting scareder and scareder, so she started moving out to the very far end of the branch.
Then, a terrifying sight. Piper falls 8 stories to the ground.
She got closer and closer to the edge, and you heard it snap, and it was just agonizing.
Scotty screams for Rodney to catch Piper.
And as she come tumbling down, my wife said, "Grab her." And I'm thinking to myself, grab her with 20 claws coming at me?
It's too late.
She was coming down feet first and unfortunately hit another branch on the way down.
Incredibly, the tough little kitty flips to her feet and runs away. Piper is reunited with her loving owners. Curiosity nearly killed this cat. Lucky for Piper, she still has 8 lives to go. Daytona Beach, Florida. Motorcycle enthusiasts jam the city for Bike Week. It's a wild time. The main event, the Cabbage Patch Jump. Daredevils fly their bikes over a pit of coleslaw where lady wrestlers go mano a mano. James Verschuren is one of the riders.
People want to see girls getting half naked and wrestling, plus freestyle motocross jumping over top while they're wrestling adds a good effect.
James has never performed in front of a crowd this large.
I get pumped up when I have one person cheering me on, let alone 20, 30,000 people cheering me on.
The riders nail their first jump. But James is worried. The ground near the takeoff track is full of ruts. A second jump is dangerous.
You have a weird feeling in your stomach that tells you, you know, this isn't your time, this isn't the right time. And I had that, but for me just to stop riding wasn't gonna happen.
But James doesn't want to disappoint. He ignores the risk and guns it. Big mistake. That haunting feeling becomes a living nightmare. The ruts knock James off course. His body is viciously sliced by the sharp edge of the steel ram.
I had my fingers almost cut right off, and if I didn't hit my head and I seen my fingers at that time, that I would have freaked out.
James spends a week in the hospital. It's a heavy price to pay for trying to please the crowd.
I was riding over top of my head. I had too many voices telling me that it was too fun. I got too excited. Excitement will kill you sometimes. I feel very lucky to be alive.
Up next, an overloaded plane struggles to take off and crashes into a schoolhouse. Then, a hitcher catches a ride on a freight train and gets buried by tons of gravel. Hold on, dude! But first, a rodeo cowboy gets stuck in the stirrup and takes a savage beating. When the world's most amazing videos returns.
Edmonton, Canada. A championship bull riding event. Ready in the chute? Greg Whitlow, rated among the top 20 bull riders in the world. Riding runs in the family.
My father was a professional bull rider for 10 years. My older brother rode bulls professionally.
Greg's family history can't prepare him for what's ahead. 6 seconds of thrills and endless minutes of terror. The raging beast rips a horn through Greg's cheek. Greg's knocked cold. But the bull's not finished yet. That rope is dangerously close to Greg's neck. If the bull tangles in it, he's in for a hanging.
He ran over me, I don't know, 4 or 5 times. The bullfighters jumped in and tried to get his attention, but he knew he had me dead to rights.
Wranglers pour into the corral. They get the bull under control, and they get Greg out. Greg survives and makes a full recovery. Today, he can even chuckle about the name of the bull that almost killed him. He's called Lights Out. Mascara, Colombia. A pilot rushes to load his plane with emergency medical supplies. He's rushing to fly the much-needed equipment to a remote jungle village. He's not going to make it. It's a tragic mistake. The plane is overloaded. The pilot can't get altitude. The plane drops. Even worse, it crashes into a schoolhouse and explodes. Bystanders run toward a pillar of smoke and fire. They find a grim scene. Smoldering metal and wood. A detached airplane wing. No one expects to find survivors. But they do. The pilot is burned but escapes with his life. And miraculously, the school is empty. Avoiding what could have been a major disaster. Jacksonville, Florida. Firefighters scramble to rescue a man trapped in a very unusual and desperate plight. Buried up to his neck in tons of gravel.
He could not breathe, his chest could not move in and out. He really thought he was going to die at that moment.
Yard workers were shocked to find John Opp trapped inside the freight car.
The young man had hitched a ride on the train, and when the train car came to rest, he decided he would take a nap. He awoke being swallowed literally in a sea of stone.
John's in deep trouble, gasping for breath. But he's running out of time, and the men can't move any faster.
They couldn't afford to use heavy equipment because they didn't know where his other arm might be. It was very dangerous for the firefighters because the rock itself could also swallow them should the load shift outside the car.
Rescuers finally get a harness around John's shoulders. They're ready to hoist him out. John is hauled out of the death trap.
Set him over here, guys.
miraculously, his bones were not broken, and he had a full recovery within 24 hours.
Firefighters saved John's life. A few more seconds, and this rail car would have been his coffin.
Coming up, a racer rockets into a turn, but can't hold on. Then, a deranged man stages a fiery standoff, forcing cops to take drastic action. And rescuers try to save a drowning man, but get swept away by a raging torrent. When the world's most amazing videos continues.
The Isle of Man. Classic motorcycles are featured in a crowd-pleasing road race. Riders take practice runs around the track. It's only supposed to be a warm-up. But number 114, David Niblock, is eager to impress. Too eager. David rockets into a treacherous turn. He should be cutting his speed. Instead, he guns it. David flies off the track at over 100 miles an hour. His race ends before it begins. David leaves the track on a stretcher. He'll return to racing, but he'll save his full throttle speed for the straightaways. El Salvador. Torrential rain and flooding forced the evacuation of thousands from their homes. Some are trapped on the far bank of a raging, fast-rising river. Rescuers set up a tow line to ferry them to safety. One man is quickly losing strength. He's not going to make it. Two rescue workers struggle to reach him, but the powerful currents are too strong. Then suddenly, the tow line snaps. One man clings to a tree branch. The others fight to stay afloat. They're swept a half-mile downstream where a rescue team pulls all three to safety. Incredibly, they've survived after their lives were almost gone. In a snap. Queensland, Australia. A police chase ends with the suspect's car in a ditch. But the fugitive won't give up or get out. Instead, he revs the engine until the car catches fire.
I immediately thought the car was going to explode.
Officer Glenn Wilson stands with his police dog. Then, the man jumps out. It looks like he's got a gun.
Get out of here now! Get out of here, please, Soda.
Suddenly, the car is engulfed. But the suspect stays put. The man stands with the burning car. Flames lap against his back, but he won't move.
I wasn't really thinking much about anything but getting him away from that car.
Get away from the car now! Get away from the car!
The gas tank will blow at any second. And the man dares police to shoot him.
There was a bit of a screaming match between him and I.
Glenn knows it's time to put his partner to work.
I positioned myself so that I could essentially take him out with the police dog.
The police dog leaps at the suspect, teeth bared.
He brought both his arms out to try and protect himself from the dog. I ran straight in and sprayed him with the capsicum spray.
The pepper spray stuns the suspect. He's forced to the ground and handcuffed. This suspect was ready to go down in flames. But police ensure this trial by fire ends in a court of law.
Coming up, a drug-crazed madman takes a woman hostage, and the crowd takes revenge. And tempers flare at an amateur hockey game, sparking a high-sticking brawl. Plus, a terrifying avalanche engulfs a skier in a white cloud of horror. As the world's most amazing videos returns.
Bangkok, Thailand. A man holds a stranger hostage with a knife to her throat. He's high on methamphetamine, unpredictable and desperate. The life or death drama plays out in full view of police, but they can't do a thing. When they get closer, he presses that knife harder into her neck. The man demands a car and a police escort back to his home province. Police negotiate, while the hostage protects her jugular with her purse.
It was an instinct for self-protection. His goal was to put the knife into my neck. If he couldn't get what he wanted, he would definitely stab me.
An officer circles behind. That only gets the man more angry. He drags the woman to an ambulance so cops can't sneak up on him. 2 hours pass. The madman is about to snap. The woman knows it. Suddenly, he draws blood. Police know they have to give in, or at least appear to give in. They bring the man a vehicle. He and the hostage get in. But the driver, a plainclothes cop, stalls the getaway.
He shouted, "Drive now!" He shouted his head off. The officer didn't drive, so he prepared to kill me. At that moment, I thought this was the end of my life.
The cop makes his move. The drugged-out kidnapper loses his knife. Police drag him from the truck. But the angry crowd wants revenge. They give the man a painful dose of street justice. Police lose him to the mob. Though scarred, the woman survives. As for the hostage taker, he's finally free from the crowd. Police throw him in his getaway car and escort him to jail. Boca Raton, Florida. The clock runs down at a high school hockey game. The buzzer sounds. Guys in white, the Eagles win. The Wildcats aren't happy.
The only reason I could find is that they lost the game and they were frustrated.
And this Cold War is just beginning. It's a quick and savage attack. Bare-knuckle punches. Sticks and skate blades chopping away. When the players are separated, one team is down. The Eagles' captain. He took a blade to the spine.
Someone kicked him in the back with a skate, and he was on the ice. People thought he was paralyzed because he didn't look like he was moving, and all of us were scared. So everybody got mad and just went after everybody. It was crazy.
The Eagles retaliate. Now it's an all-out brawl. Referees regain control before someone is seriously hurt. Half the Eagles and nearly all the Wildcats receive 3-game suspensions. Never mind the scoreboard. In this grudge match, both sides lose. Bozeman, Montana. Michael Nugent and his best friend are shooting their own ski video.
My name's Michael Nugent, and my good friend Nick Baldwin, who started making a movie this year.
But this is Avalanche season, and this is a very dangerous game.
Nugent set off this slide here today. Very large wet slide, very, very large. Chunk's about 2 feet thick, took me down about 20 feet or so. Gotta be very careful today.
Michael makes his way down a foggy slope. Suddenly, sheer terror.
Oh.
Michael loosens tons of wet, heavy snow. The avalanche engulfs him, snapping trees like toothpicks. Michael is buried alive.
When I saw the avalanche speeding past me at over 50 miles an hour, I thought that I was dead, and I couldn't breathe at all. Then I hit a tree square across my pelvis, brought me to a dead stop, and felt my life being smashed out of my body.
Nick goes for help, but it's miles away. Michael lies alone for 2.5 hours.
By the time I was rescued, hypothermia had taken over, and I was basically on my way out.
Michael spends 2 years recovering. But he returns to the slopes with a new respect for the mountain and the power of nature.
These are the incredible true stories of real people who look death in the eye and survive. Join us next time for more of the world's most amazing videos.